This is an LLD production. This is an LLD production.
Welcome to this episode of Owlia's Opinions, the podcast in which we take a better look into the world we love, learn new things, and debate the toughest issues the world has in store. I am your host, Armon Owlia. I am a journalism student here at Drexel University in Philadelphia, and it's time to enter the new School of Thought. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who tuned in this week, I just want to say thank you. This is not going to be your normal episode. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about a Persian tradition that will be going on this week. I'll be celebrating that this week as well, and it's something that I don't think many people have heard about, so I hope you guys enjoy it, as well as talking about Operation Varsity Blues. Of course, the FBI investigation into 50 people, including actresses Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman, regarding college bribery, fraud, racketeering. And I have some new information about that has not been released by anyone in the press. It's an Owlia's Opinions exclusive. We'll get to that. But first, we have a bit of a change in programming. Originally, this week, we were going to be doing a review of a documentary from HBO about the company Theranos from Silicon Valley and its founder and CEO, Elizabeth Holmes. That's been postponed for the next episode because about a week ago, we had a very much barbaric act happen in Christchurch. Of course, a crazy person came in, shot up two mosques in Christchurch, 50 people killed. I don't have the words to describe this. It's truly a tragedy. I mean, first of all, New Zealand is an amazing country. It's a beautiful country. I've not been to Christchurch. I've been to Auckland, which is in the north of New Zealand, and it is just beautiful. I love it. And the people there are some of the kindest people I've met in my life. It's truly mind-boggling to think that something like what could happen happened in New Zealand. Of course, a white supremacist from Australia came in to New Zealand with a semi-automatic and shot up two mosques, 50 people killed. But the crazy thing is just you have one of two reactions, and one reaction that I have been seeing is something that I'm amazingly proud of, and that's something I want to acknowledge. The other, I think, is just completely and utterly stupid and should not even be discussed. And if you feel this way, I'm sorry, I cannot sympathize with you. It's truly, it's bad. So first of all, I want to give my love to the people of New Zealand, to the country of New Zealand. I know it must be a very difficult time for you guys. I know something like this happened in the U.S., and this has happened before. This is very tough to swallow, and it's very difficult to go through. I remember a few months ago when the Tree of Life Synagogue was shot up in Pittsburgh, which of course is my hometown. That was very tough, but to know that Christchurch, which is a wonderful city, amazing people, and something like this happened to a group of people who just came to pray and just came to worship, all of a sudden get gunned down by this lunatic. There's no words. My condolences to all the families, my condolences to the people of New Zealand, because this should not have happened. This definitely should not have happened. And I want to take a moment to recognize the brave men and women who helped and who was able to put this shooter in custody. We will not reveal his name because he does not deserve any fame at all from this. In fact, he deserves everything else. I hope that they prosecute him to the highest extent of the law, because that's what he deserves. And there's nothing real much I can say. The sad part is that there have been lawmakers in Australia and some lawmakers, even in the United States, who have been standing on the side of the shooter. In fact, you might have heard there was a Australia senator, I think he's from Queensland, I might be wrong, so you can obviously search this up, who got egged. And not only was the person who egged him, even though he went to jail, there was a fundraising campaign and more eggs were sent to him. And I don't condone that type of action, but I will have to say that was just amazing to watch and such an amazing thing to see. But if anything, the person I want to acknowledge the most, who has done so much already and has went above and beyond the call of duty, is New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. I will admit this, I've been a big fan of her. She has been one of the most open world leaders I've seen. I think the only person who I've seen be more open, who's currently in office, is Justin Trudeau. And what they have been doing, what she has been doing, the fact is now New Zealand has now banned all semi-automatic weapons, which is ingenious and the right thing to do, I think, in this case, because obviously something like this should be prevented. Of course, in the U.S., we don't have that type of law because of the NRA. I've made my point clear on the NRA so many times before. So, yeah, Jacinda Ardern, I just want to say I'm so proud as a member of the international community to say that you are doing an amazing job as the Prime Minister, and you are completely, you have the world on your side. New Zealand, we all love you. To all my New Zealand fans, to all my New Zealand listeners, I love you. Get through this. We're all cheering you on. This is just an amazingly unspeakable tragedy that, of course, happened. And I can't really contribute much because, obviously, you know, we only know so much and we only have witnessed so much, and it's only so painful. But you know, the reaction from the people, reaction from everybody, I can't believe it. It's been so amazingly beautiful to see. And so I just want to say my love to people of New Zealand. Love you guys. This one's for you. So we are going to now take a very quick break. When we come back after this song from our first musical guest, Pool Radio, I'll be talking about a Persian tradition, which normally doesn't get talked about a lot, but is definitely something that should be talked about. And we might get into that a little bit. We'll be back after this. So that was Real Life Hero by Pool Radio. And, there are a few things I just want to mention with this. I first met Pool Radio at Owlia. They were the opening act of the night. And when I heard them, I thought they were really good. And I liked the quality of their sound. I just felt they need to have a little bit more refinement before they were able to get onto the show. And when I listened to Real Life Hero, which is going to be part of their upcoming album in late spring, more info on that later, I liked it. I thought this was the step in the right direction for them, and I'm very happy with what they've been doing. This definitely is a very light song. It makes you feel like you're floating on air, and it's such a relaxing tune that you sort of can't help but sort of like go, ah. It's the type of song that wants to make you relax, and I think they did very well on that. I've let them know personally they did very well. And yeah, I can't wait actually for the whole album to drop, so that way we at least hear what they have. So yeah, I'm really excited. Again, this was Real Life Hero by Pool Radio. This is their latest single from their upcoming album, currently titled Pool 4. The title is Subject to Change, and the album itself is scheduled to be released in late spring with availability on iTunes and Spotify. However, this single, which is called Real Life Hero, is available right now exclusively on Spotify. The link of that will be in the description. When returning to the air at the beginning of January, I made a promise that I would work to diminish stereotypes and give people the full picture of the world. I have felt that many in the media have only focused on the aspects of stories and cultures that would get the most clicks and views rather than telling them the full story. So for example, one of these instances which I feel deserves the most attention is the subject of Iran. Yes, that Iran. The Iran that, based on things you hear on the news, is a country that not only hates America, but also freedom. The highly conservative Muslim country that wholly rejects Western idealism and is the most hostile force in the Middle East. However, for people who believe Iran is that and that only, they are absolutely wrong. Iran is nothing like that. Personally, I know plenty of Iranians who live in the United States, who live in the country, who don't hate America or entirely reject Western idealism. I'm even Iranian myself. Both my mother and father, born in Iran, came to the United States. They had me. I love America. I love Western idealism. I love doing this show. This is part of the reason why I do this show. In fact, on the contrary, many Iranians love America. I'd say the vast majority of them do. They genuinely love it, and they genuinely love Western ideals. They love this country and the culture. And in fact, some of the people I know live actually in between Iran and the United States. However, I want to make this perfectly clear. When I think of Iran, I don't actually think of Iran. Fun fact, Iran has actually only been around since 1935, when Reza Shah, who was at that point the Shah of Iran, or king, changed the name of the country from its original name, which is better known as Persia. Iran, of course, means land of the Aryans, and you can obviously search that up. But yeah, that's where the name Iran comes from. So anyway, Persia is arguably one of the most significant cultural hubs in the Middle East and one of the oldest civilizations in the world. This is a civilization that has brought forward the concepts of civil rights for all, chess, algebra, even the alphabet. Some of the greatest philosophers and poets come from Persia, and the food, ways of life, and language is just beloved by many. It's one of the most well-known and well-respected cultures in the world. One of the grandest and most celebrated traditions in Persian culture comes at spring solstice, which is called Nowruz, which translates in Farsi to New Day. It's the equivalent of New Year's in the Persian culture, as Iranians believe, and you can count me in this as well, that the new year actually begins when we go back to the beginning of the very first season, which is, of course, spring. Nowruz is a tradition that goes back over 4,000 years to the Zoroastrians from the Shahnameh, which is the Book of Kings, in which the legendary King Jamshid saved mankind from a winter that intended to kill every living creature on earth. He did so by constructing a throne of gems and being raised into the heavens by every living creature, who then proclaimed that this would be a new day, hence the name Nowruz. However, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. The real question is, how does one celebrate Nowruz? Well, it takes a couple weeks to prepare, as Nowruz is considered a metaphorical wiping of the slate. So much has to get done, and we start with the Khone Takoni, which is translated to shaking the house. And I know what you're thinking, shaking the house, that sounds like a really weird tradition. Well, actually it's not. It's a full-on version of spring cleaning in which the entire house, from the floor to the ceiling and everything in between, is meticulously cleaned. So the furniture, the television gets cleaned, everything gets cleaned. So there's even a purchase of new clothes and the donation of old ones to symbolize new beginnings for the coming year. Next, which is probably the most well-recognized tradition of Nowruz, it's the Hafseen table, on which 7 symbolic items are placed that begin with an S sound in the Farsi alphabet. These include sprouted wheatgrass, sweet pudding, Persian olives, vinegar, garlic, apples, and sumac, which represent rebirth, fertility, love, patience through aging, medicine, health, and recalling the sunrise, respectively. Also on the Hafseen table are items such as a mirror, live goldfish, an orange in a bowl of water, painted eggs, coins, and books of classical poetry, or you can use the Holy Book of Islam, the Quran. Each represents reflecting on the past year, new life, the earth, fertility, future prosperity, and spirituality. So really the entire condition of the human spirit is represented on this table. And it's quite amazing actually to look at, and it's quite amazing to see the layout and how people organize them. So first of all, it is one thing to represent all these during the holiday. However, the next tradition, which is on the last Wednesday of the year before Nowruz, it's one of the most dangerous traditions, which is the Chahar Shambe Suri, in which the participants literally jump over fire in order to ensure good health for the year. However, as time has gone on, that tradition has slowly been practiced less and less for obvious reasons. I remember actually when I was a kid, witnessing the Chahar Shambe Suri, and in fact, I remember correctly, my mother actually participating in that, but I was so terrified I could not do that. And I'm glad to say I haven't do that, and I can say I've never practiced, nor do I ever plan to practice that particular tradition. However, that's another story for another time. Let's get back to it. The food during the Chahar Shambe Suri is often a soup made of garbanzo beans, almonds, pistachios, hazelnuts, dried figs, apricots, and raisins, with other dishes such as sabzi polo mahi, which is fish, rice, and greens, and ashe reshte, which is a soup made of noodles and multiple types of beans. Now, both of these have their significances, with the noodles and the ashe reshte representing the possibilities for the coming year. So when you untangle the noodles, you unfurl all the possibilities, and it becomes clear. And the greens and the sabzi polo mahi, they represent springtime. So, these are dishes that have very deep meaning with the new year, and it's really beautiful. Now, personally, I could go on and on and on with these traditions. However, the important thing is to realize how these have carried through time and have been performed by generation after generation of not just Persians, but also other ethnicities. It's even gotten to the point where it was so popular in the United States that when Barack Obama was president, he delivered an annual Nowruz address to the Iranian American community and to the Iranian government in general. So every year of his presidency, he would make this speech with the goal of establishing, facilitating what would actually become successful peace talks, as well as recognizing this tradition, which is something that I thought was just very cool for him to do. However, and this is where my regrets come in, I even touched upon this in Christchurch, in the days of Islamophobia, there isn't really much focus or attention placed on these tenets of culture. I personally believe it's an absolute disservice to the Iranian culture, and it should be celebrated the same way we celebrate Chinese New Year, Passover, or even Easter in schools. However, why not expose the world to more culture as one giant world? Because this is not just Islamic Iran. This goes back all the way, as I said, to Zoroastrianism. This expands to a time which is known for great philosophy and thought, so why not recognize it? However, this is just me being a dreamer. That will probably take time. In this age of divisive politics and growing fear, it will take a lot of time before that happens. So until that time happens and until we see this being practiced, I wish everyone a very happy Persian New Year, or as we say in Farsi, Eid Shama Mubarak. I hope you ring in the new year with kindness, hope, and love. Man hame shoma ra dost daram. Love you guys. So, what do you guys think of this? What do you think of this tradition? Go to www.loveanddebate.com. Click on the Learn tab. You'll find the article there. You can put any comments, questions, and thoughts in the comments section. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this. So we're going to take one final break. When we come back after this performance of "We Will Rock You" by Alexander Misko off his new album, which is available on iTunes and Spotify, I'll close out the show by talking about Operation Varsity Blues and some new information that I found through very thorough investigation. And now, some final thoughts. A debate and an investigation to start at the end of this program. Applying for university can be tough. There are not only numerous essays that need to be written, but also SATs, ACTs, applications that need to be filled, college tours, bribing officials. Wait, that last one isn't supposed to happen. Unfortunately, it did. And so, because of that, the FBI announced on March 12th that 50 people, including actresses Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin, fashion designer Massimo Giannulli, and former Wynn Resorts president and COO Gamal Aziz, also known as Gamal Abdelaziz, were indicted in a college fraud scandal codenamed Operation Varsity Blues. At first, my interest in the issue was minimal, but I was shocked and stunned to learn about the elaborate fraud that had been going on for 7 years, according to the FBI and the Department of Justice. However, this has been suspected for years and has almost become an unspoken rule. However, as more details began to surface, the more disgusted I became, and not only with the parents, but also the students who got caught up in it. While many of my friends and I stayed up nights and worked hard and long on our applications, they had people take the test for them and were guaranteed admission just based on the fact their parents paid the right people. My interest in the issue, however, would peak when I received a message from an all-high school friend the day after the report was released. We will call this source the governor, or Gov. And this source is someone who is closely linked to my alma mater, Hong Kong Academy, better known as HKA. Gov alerted me to a passage on page 84 of the official FBI report, focusing on Gamal Aziz or Abdelaziz as referenced in the passage. The passage reads the following. On or about August 7th, 2017, Janka sent CW1 a draft of the profile which falsely described Abdelaziz's daughter as having received numerous athletic honors, including Asia Pacific Activities Conference All-Star Team, 2016 China Cup Champions, Hong Kong Academy Team MVP, and Team Captain. In the cover email, Janka wrote, "Let me know if you want me to add any other awards to her profile or if you think that this is enough." CW1 forwarded Janka's email and the false profile to Abdelaziz and wrote, "Gamal, please answer below." Janka refers to Laura Janka, the now former women's soccer assistant coach at the University of Southern California, or USC. Janka is another one of the 50 indicted in Operation Varsity Blues with a charge of racketeering. Now, of course, hearing that HK might be involved concerned me, and Gov asked if I knew anyone at the school with that last name. I promised Gov to look into it and began looking through the class of 2018 using the yearbooks and confirmations from a member of that class whom we will call Red. Red could not recognize the last name nor an image of Abdelaziz, which was confirmed by asking other members of not only the HKA student body but also teachers and parents. It was clear that the daughter of Gamal Aziz did not go to HKA nor did she graduate from HKA. Thus, I kept my ear to the pavement and listened for rumors. One of them being that the daughter of Gamal Aziz went to HKA's rival school, Hong Kong International School, or HKIS. Due to the connections I have maintained throughout my time in Hong Kong, I was able to talk to someone who I am close to who is a member of the HKIS faculty. They believed that Gamal Aziz's daughter's status as an alumnus of HKIS an unsubstantiated rumor. However, they encouraged me to use my connections at HKIS to ensure it was a rumor or not. In my initial search, I primarily used the last name Abdelaziz, as it was the name used in the FBI report. However, I instead used the last name Aziz, which was the most common usage, and sure enough, I found a hit through Facebook. This was a student whose mutual friends of mine were HKIS students, and there were enough photo clues and posts to place her as a member of the class of 2018, as well as being deeply connected to Wynn Casinos, fitting two of the criteria needed to identify the name of the daughter. Because after all, Gamal Aziz was actually the head honcho involved with the Wynn Macau up until 2016. And the picture that we did locate turned out to be a picture of her in 2015 celebrating her 15th birthday outside the Wynn Macau. After all, who celebrates their 15th birthday at a casino? Not many people that I know. It would take a lot of money and resources and could only be possible if you had a deep enough connection. As such, I turned to a member of HKIS's class of 2018, whom we will call the Ear, who put me in contact with two friends of theirs who graduated from the class of 2018. They were able to confirm that this student, Sabrina Aziz, was in the class of 2018 at HKIS and had gone on to study at the University of Southern California, the final metaphorical nail in the coffin. I ended up with a triple confirmation from a final source codenamed Tall, a member of HKIS's class of 2017. Tall was able to confirm that Sabrina Aziz went to HKIS, graduated from HKIS in the class of 2018, and ended up going to USC. However, despite the triple confirmation that Sabrina Aziz was the woman I was looking for, I needed a source from inside the University of Southern California, and thus I found one. We will call this source the Anchor. The Anchor was not entirely familiar with the name Operation Varsity Blues, but when I explained what I was looking into, Anchor understood. The Facebook profile of Sabrina Aziz produced mutual friends for the Anchor of pre-college students from USC. The Instagram account, however, showed that Aziz went to USC. After looking Aziz's name up on the directory, however, there were no results. The Anchor then revealed to me that YouTube star Olivia Jade's older sister, Bella Giannulli, both of whom had been implicated in Varsity Blues along with their parents Lori Laughlin and Massimo Giannulli, had told her that Bella and Jade were going to leave USC voluntarily, and presumably that Sabrina Aziz had done the same. The Anchor also stated that Wanda Austin, the interim president of USC, announced that all cases in Operation Varsity Blues would be investigated and decisions would be made on a case-by-case basis, with the money received from the parents to go into student scholarships. During the course of investigating this story, I reached out to both Hong Kong Academy and Hong Kong International School for comments. As of March 21st, only Hong Kong Academy responded in the form of a statement from IB coordinator and assistant principal of HKA's upper high school, Jennifer Swinehart, saying, quote, Gamal Aziz's family has never been a part of the Hong Kong Academy community. His daughter was not a student at Hong Kong Academy located in Sai Kung, Hong Kong. All claims stating that Aziz's daughter was a Hong Kong Academy team MVP and team captain are false. The next day, the head of HKIS's alumni relations, Hilary Sandine, responded to my request for a comment with the following statement. The activities described in this case took place outside of our college admissions processes, so we don't have anything to say about it. As for Sabrina and Gamal Aziz, there are no words in any language that can convey the outrage and disgust that I feel for putting Hong Kong Academy in the position that they are. Even though I am supposed to be impartial, it is almost impossible for me to be so due to my love for my alma mater and knowing that they did nothing wrong or illegal, yet still appeared by name in the official FBI file. The moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, is to tell the truth, no matter how ugly it is. Because these people committed fraud and lied, their lives will pretty much end now, because now they cannot be trusted by anyone anymore. Their kids will now pay the price of their mistakes and compliance. In short, everyone will get exactly what they deserve. A very teachable moment. Maybe they can all do some actual learning outside the university setting. I want to know what you guys think of this. Based on the information that we have just presented, what do you think of this entire scandal? How messed up do you think this is that this was allowed to go on? And how happy are you that these cases will now be prosecuted? Go to www.lovelearndebate.com, click on the debate section and respond, please. And while you're at it, don't forget to like us on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/lovelearndebate. Follow us on Twitter at lovelearndebate. Follow us on our Instagram page at lovelearndebate. Subscribe to the podcast on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Don't forget to give us a review. 5 stars would be amazing. And don't forget to go to our online store, shop.spreadshirt.com/lovelearndebate to get new merchandise exclusively from Owlia's Opinions merch. My thanks to Omi Larejani for the graphics and show soundtrack, Pool Radio and Alexander Musico for their amazing musical contributions to the show, Imogen Aiken and Hilary Lau for their tremendous generosity in lending their voices, and throughout the HKA investigation and Operation Varsity Blues, the numerous sources as well as officials from Hong Kong Academy. I really do appreciate your help in this. That's it for this week. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks, ready to go. Thank you guys for listening, and until next time, keep loving, keep learning, keep debating. We'll see you next time on Owlia's Opinions. Goodbye.
This has been an LLD production recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.